Sirka from Finland. Second, Eddie Johnson from Bahamas. Any discussion? Calling for the vote. All those who accept the minutes, please hold up your paddle. Proxies, paddles. Mr. President, the minutes are accepted.
Thank you. John? At this point, I'd like to introduce to you John Sloan, who is the chairman of the Bylaws Committee and also the Continental Director for Asia. John Sloan.
Morning, colleagues. As we said, we would like to bring a change of procedure that we usually have, is that we have quite a few new member countries, so we would like to address the bylaws first thing this morning so they have an opportunity to be part of the voting session later on certain other matters. We had a board meeting on Saturday, and a total of 11 countries gave feedback to the bylaws. So, as you'll see in the bottom part here, when we talked about extra language, it has been decided at the board meeting that we will form a task force, and this motion that was discussed will be now deferred, and the task force will give recommendations to whoever may the new presidium be about how we will address language going forward. There were many concerns saying currently what we do, how we do, and when we want to add extra languages, how we precipitate that under the current situation when there's been quite a bit of feeling that we have not been doing a good job as current. So it has been recognised on this point here, 1.3, that we will form a task force and we will due diligence give you a report later. National member societies, references on your page 3 on the document that you've been given in your booklet on the bylaws. We have requested and feel very strongly at the board level that when presidents or vice presidents are representing a country, that they must be bona fide culinary chefs or a pastry chef. There have been instances in the past where certain representation has been and the person is not of a culinary background, and we find this a little bit difficult to when we want to discuss certain issues which may be pertaining on the culinary circuit. So, as we've said here in explanation, all current associations and societies must review and have seen that we have a non-culinary holding office. We request that upcoming local elections that only bona fide culinarians will be elected office of president and vice president. The demographics of your rest of your association committee, that is your prerogative. But WACS would like to have your understanding that we should have bona fide chefs or a pastry chef that is heading your association. Extraordinary membership, this is more a very simple one to go through. We're saying that those extraordinary members need to get a bit more visual parity, so we've recommended that for website, extraordinary members must be highlighted, so you as the rest of the world know who they are. 2.24, corporate membership on page 5, this is the same thing again. We need to acknowledge and recognise further that with our alliances with certain entities, that they're also getting a proper profile accordingly. So we're recommending also that corporate members will be highlighted on the website, allowed acceptance but limited material to be posted and publishing material whenever we're holding major competitions, etc., and even at Congress. 2.48 is an existing law which we wish to take out. Membership can only be granted with the support of the respective nations or member society. The explanation for this is that we recommend that removal of this position as some global companies may not align themselves with certain entities, so we want to be on a neutral basis. Notice of termination of membership, this is on page 6, 2.6 recommendation. Paid out WACS current members and the board of the Presidium will vote on any measures brought before the Congress. A 2/3 majority of all voting delegates is needed for the approval on the decision for membership exclusion. We've added a new point here, 2.67. inactivity of a member country can result in an election of a different or more active member society if the current members hasn't paid their dues, does not respond to communication, calls, email or fax, does not attend Congress or regional meetings on an ongoing basis. I just would like to use one that signifies this instance that happened in the last 12 months. We had quite a long time that Indonesia, in my region as Asia, was very quiet, but we had a situation that there was a group in Bali called the Bali Chef Professionals. They made an application to WACS. There was a discussion and a letter of memorandum of understanding from the current society in Jakarta, and now we have the Bali chefs that are representing Indonesia. And since this has taken place, it's actually reforged a whole new movement in Indonesia, and the existing committee that was representing WACS have now forged together. So there's actually become a more powerful organisation to give better representation to the country in concern. Our explanation for this is provision giving WACS on the opportunity to seek a more active membership and represent matters better for the company. WACS Board, this is on reference page 8, 3.21. The WACS Board is eligible to vote on all issues. It is composed of President, etc., as you know, as the 7 continental directors. 3.3, Executive Committee, reference page 9 also. And we have added a new item that we'd like you to consider, 3.32. 2 nations should be able to bid for the Presidium. For example, since I'm the bylaws chairman based in Asia, I took 2 countries. We could say Myanmar and Sri Lanka could join forces, and then they could put a bid to stand for the Presidium based on geographical size and resource. This can also be applied for Europe within certain areas. It was also highlighted from 3 countries and within the European region that cannot not be accepted to have 3 countries to stand for the Presidium. This has been taken as a possibility. This also will not be able to be effective until 2012. Suggestion came from the Asian Forum, which we held in Malaysia in 2007, and the establishment of WACS office, etc., the support staff automatically will allow 1 smaller country to run for the Presidium. And I think in today's modern age, where we have electronic communication, etc., video conferencing going forward, we've acknowledged as WACS that this should be seen as a possibility, so we seek your understanding on this issue. WACS President and Vice President, reference page 9, 3.44. The President, whoever that may be, will be able to appoint an additional office to the Presidium, such as a second Vice President. I think as we move forward, we also have to realise that we are in a global community. We are looking at things to be done accordingly. And this appointment will have no voting rights, but it will also give the ability, when we're running certain task force or identities or missions, whatever we may be working on, it could be for charity. For example, we have a case at the moment with Myanmar, which we'll talk about later on today. This person can be set up to spearhead these operations. At the same time, as we move forward with the WACS office, how we wish to drive, we have many items on the agenda, from train the trainer chef, education, culinary, etc. So we ask for your understanding to see that it's a diversification, but it also gives us a bit of ownership and driving and accountability back to you to make sure that things happen on time accordingly. 3.38, past president to be retitled to chairman of the board. 3.81, the immediate past president would automatically be elected to serve as a voting member of the board in their capacity as chairman of the board, and such will be aid in the transition to a new presidium, fundraising and other corporate matters. 3.82, the chairman may be asked to handle special tasks and projects of WACS. Based on the feedback that we had from many countries and the discussion that was taking place, this item will revert to the current status of past president. But President Metz has asked that I've kept the slide in. He would like to say 1 or 2 words on this matter, just for a point of clarity. But for as far as voting is concerned, for today, for you as the members, this item has been reverted. I'll just pass to President Metz. Thank you.
I just wanted to shed some clarity on this issue. I have taken this off the table, so that's no longer a discussion item. But I want to be sure that you understand the reason why this was done. It was never meant to be